Hello there guys, and welcome back to the channel. So, I finished exploring Crucible in one go last night. It was like a 5-hour stream almost. You can realistically do it in about 4, but it is a bit of a, lengthy run if you do it in one go, which you probably wouldn't because by the end of it, the focus was falling a bit. I definitely wasted a few revives, otherwise wouldn't have. But overall, I think I used about 10 total, maybe. And it was actually quite fun. So, as a piece of content, I genuinely liked it. I don't have anything to add. We knew exactly what we are going to be getting. There is no, unpleasant surprises there. And, yeah, I think Crucible is perfectly good content. See? Not always complaining. According to some. Anyways. This is going to be my run breakdown. So I'm going to go over fight by fight, who I used, what are the main ideas of the fight, and how did it go? Would I use the same champions again? So against the Hood, I used Gentle. You could use just about any bleed immune champion, really. The only noteworthy note there is Caltrops. So as long as you bring in anybody bleed immune, you're good to go. So for Red Skull, I used Diablo. So for Diablo, nothing too bad there. It's kind of hard to stun, but, it was a fairly easy job, nothing too crazy. But Champs with Poison will be best, or you can choose to either inflict poison or bring in somebody that's kind of like better for killing Diablo. Nothing, again, crazy in this fight. For the most part, he's going to go stun immune after his special attacks, so that's about it. So for Strife, I used Sunspot because of the Incinerate vulnerability. Other than that, you just need to make sure that you keep an eye out for Root and Miss, and then you're kind of good to go. Against War Machine, you want to use Villain with debuffs. That's it. Joe Fixit, Null, Scream, Void, High Evolutionary. I use the rank 1 Eye Bomb. And for quite a few of the fights, I actually used either 6 stars or rank 1 7 stars, just so you guys know. Black Panther Civil War, I used Hercules. That's where I messed up and I died once. Actually, thinking back at it, I probably wouldn't use Hercules because it was a super lengthy fight because of his physical resistance and me constantly having to spam level 1 in order to make sure that my true focus doesn't fall off. I think Odin is probably a better call here, or perhaps Vox even. But yeah, Hercules wasn't an ideal pick. I wouldn't do that again for the most part. So then against She-Hulk, I just used Valkyrie, hit her block, and that was super easy. You can also use Shield and Valkyrie, and then you do have Better Bill or Dust. Basically, you just kind of want to be able to deal with the Unstoppable in that fight. And that's about it. But I chose Valkyrie because I knew there's no chance she will ever trigger that Unstoppable if I just hit her block and then I get past 10 combo meter and then I can play freely as if I don't care at all. So against Mr. Sinister, I used 6-star Warlock. It's basically a straightforward Mr. Sinister fight. Just imagine Mr. Sinister being unblockable the entire time. And that's it. Bait out the level 1s when he does get to throw one. Build up to your own level 2s, and he's kind of super easy to intercept against Diablo. I use Doom, it's quite cheesy. There are plenty of other options, but shock champions will be doing more damage than most other ones. There is that node that shifts in between unblockable and unstoppable. When he's unstoppable, you basically want to parry and, do a couple of hits in, his parry stand. When he's unblockable, it's just an unblockable Diablo, nothing too crazy. Psycho Man, I just use Hyperion. Anybody with plenty of buffs works here. Against Chorus Glaive, I used Wiccan. Super cheesy fight. So what you want to do with Wiccan is you want to apply Neutralize and then knock down Corvus. Whenever he would regain his charges, he gains that many Incinerates. So you stack up ungodly amount of Incinerates very, very fast with Wiccan. It's actually very fun. Against Photon, ideal option to me is kind of Photon. Sorry, against Ebony Moth. Yeah, Photon. Because you do want to be able to bypass Miss if need be as well. And, parrying projectiles is kind of super helpful because then you can heavy him easy. And you do not want to crit too much because then you start stacking debuffs on yourself. Against Proxy Midnight, I used Wags, but basically, Calls of Mean champions are great. Champions with access to Armor Break are great as well. Or also champions that get easy knockdowns without relying on parry stun. Will do better. There's a plethora of options. It's basically just Proxy Midnight that will try to inflict cold snaps on you unless you have Armor Break. That has Ebb and Flow knockdown. And yeah, that's about it. Against Wasp, anybody, again, either calls on immunity or evade counters. So I used the 6-star Okoye, and Okoye absolutely nuked her. Then against Hercules, I used Tigra. The defender is going to be super aggressive. You just need knockdown to remove protection. That's it. That's about it. Nothing else there. Against Deadwood Hell's Kitchen, I used my rank 1 OG Storm. I knew that OG Storm rank 1 is very good for both Citalis boss and also the final Glycan boss. So if you do have her higher ranked, I would save that Storm and I would just use somebody like, I don't know, Captain Britain or Professor X or Wags or one of the other mutants that have access to passive stand ideally. Then against Citalis, I used Bishop. That was super easy solo. So against Citalis, you just need to remember that basically you need to push her to either level 1 or level 2, whatever number is under her. She's going to have an icon listing 1 or 2. And then you do want to throw her in her own trap. Ideally with a special attack, but in some phases it works with heavy attack. But if you do special attack, you're never gonna go wrong. And that's what it. So just bait out the special attack, wait until the trap is set, and then push her in her own trap, and then you do a ton of damage. Use Prowess Champion to make it easier for yourself. Super easy fight. Against Vision, I used Vox. It was a super easy fight. Just you need to kind of play around the falter, but Vox doesn't care about it because it has tunnel vision. But as long as you activate 1 level 2 with Vox, you're kind of good to go. Then against Scout Witch, any kind of Cosmic really does well here. I used Silver Surfer, there was no real issues. But yeah, Overseer as well. Obviously Human Torch would do well, but also like a bunch of Cosmic Champions work because of the superiority underdog node. Now, this is one of the fights where I definitely messed up. I shouldn't have brought my rank 1 7-star Elsa for this. I think a plethora of other champions would be better. So, you do want to effectively manage the whiplash charges, and you can manage them by intercepting and then knocking down the opponent with special attack. To make that easier, you need to play around fight or flight node or get intercepts on the go. So, looking back at it, I might have been better off using somebody like, I don't know, Jugs or Moleman probably would be my call because they get super easy intercepts, and yeah, I think it would have went better. But at the very least, also the fact that I was using rank 1 at this point didn't help me. So I messed up twice actually in this fight, so it was quite embarrassing that so far in the run, only revives that I had used were on stupid Black Panthers. But whatever. So against Domino, I used Shuri. It was super easy and cheesy. There's the Be Like Water node, so she can go unblockable. But other than that, because you do have Light 'em Up node and Shuri inflicts a ton of shock, it was like super easy and quick fight. Against Electra, I used Prowler. Spiral's also a great option because she's also Falter immune. And then, you do have other miss bypass options effectively. So you're going to be good. Against Deadpool X-Force, I used Ironheart. Here I screwed up because I underestimated the double determination. And I used 1 revive. Looking back, the Jack probably would have been a better option. And then wherever I used Jack, I would have used Ironheart for the most part. I figured that, Ironheart could be cool because with debuffs, I can drown out aggressive regeneration. But that redoubled determination, it was still a silly mistake. I just pushed Deadbolt level 3, really. But yeah, Ironheart's also perfectly capable of doing this fight. It's just a silly mistake. Against Joe Fixit, then I used Shield. Easy solo. Many of you would like to save your shield for Behemoth, and that is perfectly fine. There are other options. You can use like Mick Fury, Moleman, Jabari, Black Cat. Most of the decently good skill champions will do well here. Against Nimrod, I used Longshot. It was super cheesy. It was basically like 1 level 2 immediately back to other one, and yeah, Longshot absolutely nukes this guy. Then against Ronan, I used Gore, and this was the most stupid thing because I was doing it on live stream and I was deep in my conversation, and somebody in the chat suggested Gore, and Mando translated. Well, Mando told me that, and I was like, oh, okay, let's go with Gore. And that was a horrible matchup. Gore has way too many buffs. You're much better off using somebody like Angela, or somebody like Odin, or somebody like Scream, or a plethora of other champions. The entire idea is that there you need to kind of manage the Rising Sun node, as well as Cosmic Avalanche and Give Me Shelter and everything else, and Be Like Water means that you can't parry as freely. You know what? Deathless Thanos. I think Deathless Thanos would have been great for this. Gore is bad. Do not do this. I used 2 revives on that because it was a rank 1 gore as well, and I was like, why am I using rank 1 here at this point? But yeah, do not do that. So, against Scorpion, I used the Tomb. It was a fairly easy fight. Basically, the entire time Scorpion is unblockable, though, so I do think there are better options. I do think, like, Nick Fury probably would have been a better and safer call, and maybe Okoye as well would have been a very, very good option here. Doom did fine. It was a solo. It wasn't anything too crazy, but yeah, I think here would have been a good spot to use that 7-star Okoye. Morningstar, it was a cheese fight with Ghost, basically. You know, just one hit dash back, one hit dash back, one hit dash back type situation, because it has caltrops, and whenever you hit her, you get bleeds, and you get a ton of passives, and you're doing like 40k mediums all the time, so it's super easy cheesy. Massacre, I just used the Mega Red and healed up all the time, either, you know, by using my level 1 or level 3, and also by having the bleeds on me, so it wasn't the best fight, but it wasn't awful. Against Penny Parker, Galen, that's kind of self-explanatory. It's a very basic Galen fight. Obviously, you can use Hulkling here as well as, you know, Venom if you want, and, you know, most of the kind of like heavy-hitting Cosmic Champions. Somebody like Serpent probably would do well too. Against Cersei, I used Nico. That was incredibly cheesy. But, yeah, besides Nico, you can use Hood, you can use Rintra. Shakushala would do fine. Kindred would do fine. Black Widow Clairvoyant if you have her ranked apps. Yeah, Symbiote Supreme. A ton of great options, as long as you kind of like play around the buffet over time and Vigorous Assault and, you know, wait out the glancing. All good. Against Kitty Pryde, I use Jack. Again, I think, you know, the Jack's fight is perfect, but, you know, there are other Kitty options. You can just use Nimrod. You can use, if you want, Arcade, or you can use Ironheart. But yeah, Jack would have been better used up for that Deadpool there, in my opinion. Against Behemoth, I used Kingpin. It was a bit lengthy fight, but there was nothing kind of crazy about it. Again, kind of like easy way to remind yourself, you do want to use a Purify champion against Behemoth. And what you want to be doing is reflecting. You want to make sure that Behemoth has 3 of those green charges, or yellow charges basically, and he gains the yellow charges whenever you purify something and when his little timer expires and you are close to him. If you're far away from him, he gains a red charge. That is bad. You do not want that to be happening, so you do want to pay attention to that timer. And other than that, bait out the level 1, and after his level 1, if he has 3 charges, he will be pushing like a green kind of like energy wave at you, and you do want to be reflecting it either with your heavy attack or a special attack, or later on with the parry. And you basically just always have to reflect that, and, you know, then the fight kind of goes more or less straightforward. Then we have Vulture, where I used Hulkling. No issue, you just basically want Power Drain Immune Champion. Ideally, against Gore, I used Ronan. It was super cheesy, just activate level 1, and basically the fight's over. Against the Meg Sentinel, I used CGR. You know, fairly easy nuke, just on my special 2s. Dormammu, Spider-Ham. Very, very quick and easy. And again, against the Meg Sentinel, you basically want Armor Shatter, Armor Break type champions. Against Gore, there are plenty of other, you know, mysticky options, but Ronan's super fun, cheesy time. And against Dormammu, just most of the regular science champions would work as well. There is the Fight or Flight, so you do want to be playing around that. If you use buff immune champion, that's perfect. Somebody like Red Guardian would be amazing for this too, but Pig was very fast. Against the Tuma, you do want to be using shock champions, well, basically, because he does have shock vulnerability. I remembered from my initial clears of the Act 8.3 that iDoom did this fight for me very, very well, and that's what I use now. I used 7-star rank 2 iDoom. It was like super easy and straightforward fight. There's absolutely nothing hard about it. Shuri can do that fight. Black Widow, Deadly Origins, sure, why not? Nimrod, yeah, I'm sure Silver Sable would do well in this fight, as well as Negasonic Teenage Warhead, why not? Sunspot's probably good enough too. Even Okoye probably works decently well. Against Mephisto, you just want Incinerate Immune somebody, ideally that controls power gain too, so I used Anti-Venom, wasn't anything tricky at all. Against Venom Pool, I used Absorbing Man, was because you get armor breaks placed on you. It's super cheesy fight. Against Anti-Venom, I use Black Cat. Again, nothing too crazy. If you can, you know, purify debuffs, that kind of helps you a bit. Against Null, I ended up using Sassy. It was also a very, very fun fight where you bait and push Null to level 2s. You take all of that level 2 in the block, you gain a bunch of Furies, and then you go and nuke null, so it was kind of fun. Against Thing, I used Toad. Thing is a bit tricky. Okay, so let's go back. Null, obviously, again, most of the other Mystic options would do well there, but the entire point is just push Null to level 2s and take his special in the block. Against Thing, it's a bit trickier fight because it has Stunning Reflection, Poison, and Incinerate. It has Foresight, and it has Calcify. If you do have your willpower active, that Calcify is actually very annoying, and it will be reversing your regeneration. And therefore, against Thing, I ended up using Toad because I knew that Toad is immune to his regenerate manipulation. So he worked out very, very well for this fight because I could heal from those petrifies because they could not reduce my regen ability accuracy. But the entire point, I mean, I guess Eye Bomb would be decently good too, because if you have a lot of poisons, then you don't really regen for all that much. Scorpion, but again, Scorpion with those calcifiers could be quite annoying if you're running willpower. Elsa, Black Cat actually I think could be a very good option here, maybe purifying those calcifiers and, you know, shutting down that thing. But keep in mind that calcify is bigger threat than you might think it is. Misty Knight, I just used Archangel. I didn't want to think too much. You know, you could use Onslaught, you could use Storms or Bishops or Apocalypse or New Cyclops or Iceman. Archangel did the job fine against Wong. I used Silk. There's nothing too kind of crazy about this fight. Just, you know, make sure that you either can control his power or you do have slow at all times. That's, you know, basically what I did with Silk, being kind of super aggressive. Against Bishop, I used the Meg Sentinel. Again, most of the... There's nothing particularly crazy about this fight, really. Just, you know, have a half-decent Bishop counter. Against Quicksilver, I used Kate Bishop. Then if you deal with the Wade, nothing crazy happens in this fight. So bring in like Shang-Chi or Elsa or Kate or Nick Fury or Falcon or, you know, Zemo or Okoye, and you're going to be fine. Against Havoc, I used Medusa, and this was not the greatest matchup. You do not want Armor Shatter here because you do want consistently be armor breaking the Havoc in order to get armor up on yourself. Or you do want to have champions that are immune to armor break. But I think the best option really is just champion that consistently and quickly can armor break that Havoc, because every time you're going to parry, you're going to get armor broken and one of your armor ups is going to get done away with. Medusa was fine, but yeah. So I think Wujnarkus, CGR would be fine. Probably Silver Surfer, something like Corvus does well here, I'd imagine. Chor maybe a bit less so. Man-Thing actually could be quite decent. Interesting. Or Cull potentially with being able to parry the projectile. So this was a bit more iffy. Then Iron Man, Cerastus, Venom. That was fairly easy solo. So quick explanation on this fight. Basically, you do want to destroy all 3 shields at the same time. So it's kind of helpful that you get in your head, you know, kind of the rotation. Like, for instance, using Striker, knocking them down, hitting the block. And that is, you know, how I kind of like consistently chanted in my head what I'm meant to be doing. And then having Cosmic Champions with buffs make that easier to break the armors for Cerastus. Basically, you do have to have a relic on the champion that you use. And the 3 things that you have to do is effectively punish Iron Man Cerastus' special attack, because he's going to auto-block and then you easily hit his block. So that is a hit in the block. You need to activate the Striker and connect with the Striker. That is the second shield. The third shield is the knockdown. Typically, you want to kind of like knock him down and then immediately bait out the level 1 to kind of like start this cycle all over again. You need to destroy all 3 shields at the same time, learn how Dex is level 1, and the fight is basically in the bag. Against Aegon, I use Jean Grey. You know, somebody like Guillotine would be great here. Valkyrie, Shang-Chi, sure, why not? Dust, I assume, is great too. Jean Grey worked perfectly fine too, by the way. Against America Chavez, I used Torch. I used the Revive. I used my like 6-star Torch, I think, and it was a silly choice. I should have picked somebody that has some sort of petrifying or something like that, because she just throws heavy attacks for no reason, and then it's impossible to bait out enough level 1s. So Torch was not the best call here. Somebody like Count Nefaria would be great. Somebody like Quicksilver would have been very, very good, or She-Hulk, or Deathless She-Hulk, or Silk, or Chavez of my own, which is what I wanted to use initially, but in my head I was like, no, I'm going to save her, and then I saved her, and then I regretted it. Anyways, Do not torch this fight, and make sure that you do have some sort of power control for this fight, because yeah, she's going to be throwing her heavies, and as soon as that happens, the fight just gets immediately harder. And here I against over the deck I used Black Widow Daily Origins, which was a very bad pick. Do not do that. Her shocks do not last anywhere long enough, and yeah, you ended up in a fairly bad situation. I think Hyperion would have been very, very good here. Ironheart would have been very good with Incinerate pre-fight. Shuri would have been good. Red Skull, sure. Okoye, Silver Sable, all of those. Black Widow Daily Origins is awful champion, and you should never use her for anything. Right, Professor X, I use Deathless She-Hulk, it's fair enough solo. Basically, you just want a miss counter in this fight. That's about all. You just want a miss counter, and you're good. Then it's much easier. Against Black Cat, I use Sinister, nothing special about that fight. It's regular, you know, she's gonna try and purify debuffs, and, you know, don't intercept her, that's about it. Against Icarus, Shatter, you know, most Mystic champions would work here as well, like Black Cat or Hood or whatever. Nothing too crazy about this fight. Against Sasquatch, I use Human Torch. And yeah, if you use Striker within 3 seconds after Defender Special, you gain Fury. And it's kind of good to have a miss counter. That's about it. Very straightforward fight. Against Frost, I use Jugs. It's just a basic armor break immune Frost fight, really. This was very fun. Deadpool X-Force against Valkyrie, because it does have Power Shield. Basically, rank 3 Deadpool X-Force killed Valkyrie in one level 1. So that was a very, very fun option. Massacre should be quite decent for this too with the Power Shield node. Same as like Mr. Sinister. Serpent, sure, why not? But yeah, Deadpool X-Force is very fun. Against Terax, Onslaught is perfect for this, because it has Hazard Shift, Shock, and Bleed. Basically, you do not need to worry about any of that. And yeah, it's kind of like a regular Hazard Shift fight with Terax, obviously. And yeah, Onslaught was perfect for this, because once he activates his rock field, you can just infinitely spam heavy attacks with Onslaught and then drop a level 2 and you're good. And then, you know, you consistently get a decent amount of willpower healing, either from shock, bleed, or the arm breaks. Yeah, it was a very fun fight. Against Omega Red, basically use robot, any robot, and make sure that you stay. Either you have Omega Red at the wall, or you yourself are at the wall, in order to avoid that degen. That's it. Just use a robot. Spot Bullseye. That was a fairly easy call. You know, just bypass miss, and that's it. Then you don't need to worry about anything in this fight. Against Spider-Man Supreme, ideally use anybody that either bypasses miss or is buff immune. Then there's absolutely nothing to worry about. Titanium was perfect for this. Against Captain America Sam Wilson, I use Deathless Thanos. There are better options. I think Hulkling or Odin, or even potentially Serpent would have been a better call. Deathless Thanos worked fine. I think Medusa would have been good too. But at that point, I already had used her. And now we have Jessica Jones. I just used Baron Zemo. Baron Zemo was a super easy fight. Shang-Chi, Valkyrie, Hawkeye. Yeah, sure, why not? All of those work. Beta Bill would be decent. She-Hulk with her slow there. But effectively, yeah, Baron Zemo made this fight very, very easy. And against Glycan, I used Havoc. It was not the best call. You ideally would have wanted somebody like Captain Britain or maybe the new Cyclops. It's just that I have neither one of them really ranked up highly. Or OG Storm, if you have that ranked up. That is a very good call. And this Glycan fight is kind of a bit trickier, but the base idea is that you do want to be doing the things that he asks you to do, either land 2 intercepts straight up, or hit his block twice, or, you know, parry stun him to be gaining the prowesses. And then you just need to know that only way you can do special attack is straight after punishing his heavy or a special. And that's it. So you want to learn how to dex his specials and recognize them, and learn how to punish them. Overall, not too bad a fight. I must admit that I had completely blanked out on the Glycan fight. The other 3 I kind of remembered. Glycan I had completely forgotten for whatever reason. But again, you know, once I kind of got more comfortable baiting out special attacks and remembered what to do, it's not too bad. You want to effectively use champions with lots of prowess, ideally, and, you know, big, good crits. Yeah, that was my run overall. And again, I kind of like the content. Only revives really I used was a couple of bad choices along the way. many of whom was just because I was like streaming and doing it in one go. So give yourself some breaks. Don't try to do it in one go. And yeah, it should be good. It's quite fun. Let me know what you think, and I'll catch you guys soon. Bye-bye. Hello there, guys, and welcome back to the channel. So we have all the information about the next one.